Na 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 na.
Hey.
Na 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 na. Welcome. Good morning, Milwaukee. I am Devon Jones, DJ, the Protege, here on a Thursday in place of Keith. Yes, this is Devon Jones, DJ, the Protege, here on Thursday in place of Keith. Good morning, Debo.
Top of the morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Ryder.
Hey. And the streetcar, man.
No,
No,
man.
no. So we got a new name over here.
Yeah, he earned his new name.
I earned that, brother.
Yeah.
What is new name?
Mr. Ryder. Mr. Ryder.
See, he put Mr. in front of that thing. Why is this?
Oh, because Saturday when we went out, first of all, he was the headliner.
Hey.
So that's already a mister just because. But then he did his thing.
I appreciate
He did
that,
his thing.
boss.
So, I had a great time. And it was.
You ain't talking about that day when you had
music.
them repass chairs.
There he go. There he
You
go.
talking about that day, is you?
Yeah, he talking about that.
I was comfortable.
Yeah, and that's all that matters.
No, he was seated. He wasn't comfortable.
No,
I
I
was
was seated, huh?
I was comfortable.
Oh,
Good morning, everyone. This is Community Voice here on WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. Shout out to everyone that is on the YouTube channel. Shout out to everyone that is listening to us and watching us on Facebook Live. Just a few things that we want to touch on today. The Diddy trial. The verdict came in yesterday, and a number of people are surprised. A number of people are upset, but it is newsworthy just because of the public figure that Diddy is, and then just the amount of attention that this trial garnered. So yesterday, he was found not guilty on the racketeering charges and the sex trafficking charges, but he was found guilty on the paying for prostitution um, charges, which is the lesser of the charges that he received. But it can still he can still receive a maximum of 20 years. I'm just going to be honest. I was surprised that he was guilty on anything, just because I believe that this was an attention grabber for him, to sit him down, to humble him, because he began to speak out about the powers that be, and just how he felt that he was done wrong with his alcohol brand.
Yeah.
And when he began to speak out, that's when all of the issues
Yeah.
became. I will be honest. I will say that um, he isn't the only individual that have
Yes.
been
Yeah. Say
indulging
it. Say it.
in this type of activity when it
Yeah.
called.
Did you
when it
did you
comes-
watch the special last night that they did? Diddy the verdict?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, because they were saying that actually most of his problems started when Cassie filed charges against him, and that whole piece went public. That's when the feds really started to dive into what was going on with him.
Actually, if you want to be honest, Debo, it really started as soon as he opened up his mouth and said who he was going to go after.
Right.
After when he got the Revolt television and he was talking about starting a new party,
Mhm.
all this other
A new political party.
As soon as he came out and said that,
Mhm.
is when all of a sudden, all of these now, I'm not taking away from what he did. What he did was completely wrong. However, it's more than him that has skeletons in the closet. Just the closet door hasn't been revealed for some
But a
reason.
lot of them skeletons have started to come out with the Bill Cosbys and the,
Well, all of that
You know.
happened though with Bill Cosby because again, he was trying to get NBC. And soon as he started talking about getting NBC, then everything that happened from 30, 40, I'm sure, because I got some stuff in my past from 20, 30 years ago that if it was to hit the fan, it'd make me look bad too, because I was in a different era of my life.
Mhm.
So it's yes, we all got skeletons somewhere in our closet that if it was revealed, that it'd make us look bad, but that don't depict or determine
Well,
who we are.
I think my issue becomes this whole statute of limitations piece,
Yeah,
man.
man, that's
It
crazy,
just
man.
seems to me that you shouldn't be able to come back 40 years later and now say that I did this, that, and the other because your memory could be tainted just as well as mine could be tainted. You remember it in a certain way, and doesn't mean that it happened that way.
Exactly. Because man, there's some stuff I know I did 20 years ago, 10 years ago, probably even 5, that if it came out, I mean, I'll probably be on the blacklist too. However, that's not who I am today. That's not who I am. So for them to actually go back and talk about something that happened in early 2000, yeah, your mind ain't the same 25 years later.
Right. But I would say that first of all, phone lines are open 414-444-5250. Phone lines are open 414-444-5250. I would say that, Bill Cosby, that was like 30, 40 years
Yeah,
ago.
it's crazy.
With Diddy, this was obviously more recent than Bill
10,
Cosby just
15,
because
almost 20 years ago, though.
he's younger than Bill Cosby. What I will say is that although we may not agree with the manner in which the charges and things came about, we cannot ignore what we've been hearing on the streets as far as him allegedly being involved in murders,
Of
him
course.
allegedly being involved in certain incidents where things have blown up
I
and
get that.
individuals, having harm caused to them. I do not feel sorry for him.
No, I don't feel sorry for him, but he wasn't on trial for that. He
Right.
was on trial for racketeering. He was on, and then for them to now again, I'm not condoning what he did. What he did, it was bogus. It was wrong. I have a daughter. I have sisters. I go buck wild.
Allegedly,
Allegedly.
Well,
because he wasn't
well,
found
hold on, hold
guilty.
on. No, no, no. We saw what he did on tape to catch. So that's not alleged.
Oh,
Right.
that's what you're
So
talking
we,
about.
yeah.
Okay.
So
I
we
thought you were talking about as
so
a
we
whole.
know that what he did as far as that, putting his hands on her as a man, you can pumpkin head if I was around. However, I'm not condoning that. But what I am saying is this man was not on trial for beating up Cassidy.
Right.
And for them to even bring that into the case, this is something that the judge should have not even allowed for them to even bring into this case because it wasn't about DV. It wasn't about that. It was about racketeering.
I would just say that wrong is wrong, and no matter how that comes out, you know, if there is some legal ramifications due to that, then it
But it wasn't
you
DJ.
can't leave it up to public perception. What I will say is that you
But
know
but but let me ask y'all a question, and you may or may not know, DJ. Didn't he pay her to go away?
20 million. He paid her,
I
and
thought it
then
was 30 million,
well, it was in the
So
millions.
so
So for
so
it to even come
typically
out in the
when that
court,
happens, that's a non-disclosure.
yeah,
but she got subpoenaed.
yeah, but
But they
still,
can't
they
make her go against the
exactly,
But
bro.
she
non-disclosure.
got subpoenaed.
But again,
That
bro,
was federal.
she got subpoenaed, but
But
this
but she
case was
has a
not about
non-disclosure to where
DV.
she can't speak on that.
It was not about DV. It was about racketeering.
Well, we remember Bill Cosby should never have went to jail
Yeah,
because that particular incident where they alleged him to have committed those crimes, he had already went under oath and
yeah,
all of those things, and it was supposed to be
sealed.
right sealed, and so that ended up coming back out under some sort of technicality
Man,
that they brought up,
yeah.
and Bill
I
Cosby
mean, I'm no
ended
law
up going to
scholar, but I
jail.
thought non-disclosure means
Means
I
non
can't talk
disclosure. You
about
can't
it.
talk about it ever. You can't talk about it. And so that's what's getting me because again, the judge should have not even allowed this to
But
even
here's the
come into the
but
case.
and this is going to my bigger and overarching point is that no matter what, me and you don't get the benefit of the doubt of any of that. So
Are you right?
you may be right
Yeah.
about non-disclosure, and you may be right about certain stipulations, but when it comes to
It's the
people that
protection
look
of the complexion.
like us,
Yeah.
we are
You're
never,
right, DJ.
never gonna get the benefit of the doubt. Caller, thank you for your patience. You on there?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Just wanted to make a couple of comments about the Diddy case. Uh,
Speaker.
what they did first was throw all of this stuff against the wall, the RICO case, the racketeering case, and all of this stuff. None of that was gonna last. This was consenting adults who did things with the amount of money that he had. They can do things like that because it's happening right now as we speak. But it's not all in the news. Secondly, you may as well parade the whole NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, because they all fly girls in for the
Exactly.
to get
Exactly.
sex.
Yep. Exactly.
And so now, how this charge stuck, I don't know. They call it the Mann Act, but it's that was used for people of our color who call themselves pimps transporting women across state lines. But this is a commonplace thing nowadays, and
Exactly.
they all consenting adults.
Yep.
You don't, you just don't get on no plane because somebody told you to get on a plane. You get
Exactly.
on that plane
Because you
because
want
you
to.
know what's getting ready to happen.
Exactly.
You're
My
gonna
point.
get paid to do a performance or whatever it is that you do, and if that's the case, if it sticks on him, we can't even watch sports no more on
Yep.
Sunday.
Yep, that's true because a lot of these football players and basketball players, they fly these chicks that they meet on Instagram. They fly them out to hang with them, and they know these chicks know that when they get on the plane that they're gonna do something strange for a little change. They already
That's
know that.
exactly right. That's exactly right. And so I'm not sure why the man at charge stuck. I ain't gonna even qualify this with. I ain't gonna say he was wrong and all of that. That ain't none of my business what
Right,
he do on his personal time.
right.
And if he got enough money to do it with, they do it. They ain't never sent Hugh Hefner to jail.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
that wasn't if
that's
that wasn't
right.
pimping and prostituting and man acting and
Playboy Bunny.
all of
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
none of that happened to him.
that's true. Yeah.
But we can't compare him to Hugh Hefner
Well,
though, because
actually,
like I said,
We're
that's
because
not
the
comparing.
protection.
Hugh Hefner is white,
Yeah,
and
it's protection of complexion.
Was Hugh Hefner charged with anything?
Not at all. And he
No.
had young chicks. He had. Yeah, you're
My
right.
thing is this: we've heard allegedly, but we've heard
You're right.
of illegal things going on at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
Right,
We
right.
but again, he was never brought up on charge.
But
Same
but
thing
but
with Diddy. He was heard allegedly of
right.
illegal things that he was going through or whatever,
But he
or
was brought up on
indulging in,
charges.
not going through, but
Yeah.
indulging in. We know from the history of the United States of America that when it comes to individuals that look like Jermaine Rideout,
Yeah.
Devon Jones,
Yeah.
Mr. Debo,
Yeah.
that that justice system is gonna make sure that they charge you to the fullest extent of the law.
That part we agree 100%. But I'll never back down on the notion because it's a white man. That white man don't have can't hold a candle to anything that you, Mr. Jones, Mr. Debo, or anybody or our forefathers ever done. We've always held this country up.
Yeah.
The only reason that they can do the things that they do now is because of us.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll never give them the credit about I look different than them. This has been designed to keep me from doing. If
Yeah.
we ever came together
Yeah.
as a race and quit hating on each other like we do
I
on a
totally agree.
daily,
Totally
killing
agree.
each other like we do on a daily, they would be petrified out of their mind.
They
But
don't want us to do that because they know
to come
one is
together,
power in numbers. Exactly, it's power in numbers, and they
right?
know that if we come together, they know
It's
that it's
over.
over with.
It's
It's
over.
it's over.
We
So yeah,
they
you're
stole
right.
all our inventions.
Yeah,
They stole everything. They didn't even know how to farm.
you're right, man.
Mm-hmm.
This country was built on the backs, and now they sending all the illegal immigrants back. See how fast your roof get done now. See
Yeah,
how fast your grass get cut now. Because the people that they got up under our generation, Mr. Jones, my hat is off to you for being such a young man and following the path that you own. But a lot of the young brothers ain't on that path.
yeah.
They
Real
don't know how
talk.
to work. They got ears on the side of their head, the best thing they ever had to listen, but they don't listen, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, caller.
I appreciate it, brother.
You have a good one, sir.
Hey man, he was in there, man.
Oh yes, sir. Caller, thank you for your patience. You on there?
He was in there.
Good
Good,
morning.
good day, fellas.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
This is Rick calling you long distance from Germany.
Rick, how you doing?
How
man?
are you?
I am suffering with CIA intestinal parasites. and I was poisoned 20 years ago, 22 years ago in Washington, D.C., after coming home from Germany. German laboratories were involved, but two black men gave me the prescription from a DC hospital, which poisoned me. Justice in America is about not just race, but money and wealth and who you're connected to. Black people, when you start making close to $1 billion, you are held to a different standard. And they're gunning for you, not only to take your money, but to take your name. Bill Cosby was running with whites, Jews, gay men, and he saw them get away with things that black people would never get away with. And he had issues with his mother. But I tell you this, it's going to get worse under Trump, and if a Republican follows Trump in the White House. The Congress is so corrupt, the law doesn't hold this president accountable. But black people will be held accountable and more.
Has the
I'm
law
done,
hold
Front
any
Fellas.
president accountable?
Say again?
Has the law held any president accountable?
Nixon.
Well, most presidents operate in secret, not only in waging war, but in what they do in terms of suppressing the people. Most presidents operate in secret. Nixon was exposed because the Congress and the wealthy didn't like him. But black people are going to catch hell if another Republican enters the White House after Trump. I'm done, fellas.
All right, appreciate your call. 414-444-5250. 414-444-5250. We're coming up on a break right now. I am Devon Jones, DJ the Protege, here on Thursday in place of Keith. After this break, we will be right back.
AURN News. I'm Jamie Jackson. Despite President Trump's positive messaging on the economy, new data shows the private sector lost 33,000 jobs in June. That's according to the latest report from ADP, which tracks payroll data from over 25 million U.S. workers. The steepest losses came from professional and business services, education and health, and financial activities, sectors that often provide middle-income jobs. Small businesses were hit especially hard. Companies
welcome back, Milwaukee. This is Devon Jones, DJ, the Protege, here on Community Voice. Just speaking about the Diddy trial and the two counts of transportation in an effort to engage in prostitution that Diddy was found guilty of. But the more serious charges, I think all of the charges are serious just because anytime you got to serve prison time is serious. But the bigger charges, he was found not guilty on.
I got a question, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Does he now have to register as a sex offender?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Because he didn't get convicted of
Sex
sexual crime or
He-
sex.
yeah.
Are we certain of this, or are we speculating?
No, for what they said on the.
Yeah, he was found not guilty on the sex
I get it.
trafficking
I get
charge.
it. But it's related to sex. So
Yeah, but he was found not guilty.
Has anybody that picked up a prostitute and got caught had to register as a sex offender?
I don't know. That's
No.
not what he was
No,
charged with.
I thought sex offenders is if you.
So like a guy that's caught or charged with human trafficking.
But that's different than transportation to
No, it's the same thing.
engage. No, that's
It's-
different.
No,
It's different because they're different words.
You're
They gotta be
trafficking
different.
though. If you're taking someone from one point to another to engage in sexual acts, isn't that trafficking?
I, from what he was found not guilty on, I'm going to have to say no, because transportation to engage in prostitution, those are the counts that he was found guilty on. Whether it was him flying them out, or they chose to.
Okay, look, we're gonna use street term for a minute.
Yeah.
That's still pimping.
Oh yeah.
So what is a pimp? He gets charged with human trafficking.
But he didn't get charged with human trafficking.
You're missing my point. I ain't talking about what he was charged with. I'm saying, is that a sexual offense crime to where he maybe would have to register as an offender?
Any lawyers that's listening,
Because I mean,
call.
they just cleaned it up.
444.
They just cleaned it up in court, but on the street
5250.
level, that's pimping.
Right.
Well,
I mean, people were saying that he basically got charged as a pimp. But the sex trafficking charge, he didn't. And I would, like I was saying earlier, I would assume, even though we know what happens when you assume, that if he was found guilty on that sex trafficking, then to your point, he may have to register as a
okay, hold on.
sexual offender.
Okay, I just looked it up. It says whether Sean Diddy Combs will have to register as a sex offender depends on the specific of his conviction and the sentencing order by the judge. So that would come out when he's sentenced, if he would have to register. The conviction: Sean Diddy Combs was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution,
Right.
a violation of the Mann Act. He was acquitted. Of the more serious charges of sex trafficking and
And
racketeering.
racketeering.
So yeah, he might not have to
It
register.
depends on the judge.
Yeah,
It's to
it
the
depends
judge's
on the judge.
discretion. And we had a discussion on judge's discretion a
And
few
laws
weeks
of
ago.
laws of a particular state
Yeah,
as
it
well.
says sex offender registration laws. Sex offenders registration requirements are determined by both state and federal laws. These
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
general,
The laws within
they
that state.
require registration for individuals convicted of specific sex offenses.
Even so after those charges and the verdict ran, his lawyer asked for $1 million bond for him to
And they
be
denied it.
released, and they denied it, which also just speaks to the seriousness of, these people do not play when it comes to people that look like me and you. Because if we recall, he was denied 3 times
Put
for
his house up.
50 million.
Yeah, he put his house up. He put
50
everything
million.
up.
And first of all, I've never even heard of a $50 million. You always hear of $1 million, $500,000, 250, 750. But a 50 million, I was like, whoa. And they denied that 3 times. And so they're not playing with Diddy. Caller, thank you for your patience. You on air.
Yes, how you doing this morning?
All right, and yourself. Good morning.
I'm doing pretty good. Now, the Diddy case and the Trump situation is really bad. But this situation, I listened to Michelle Bryan, for you guys come on, and I had never heard of this in any area of time or anywhere on this earth. This lady came to the funeral home for 5 million, and the reason why is because her son had got killed, and she was at the funeral. And when she opened up that casket, her son's body was covered in maggots from head to toe.
Yeah. We actually talked about that before she got off the air.
Okay, yeah. And I would have tore that place up.
What
And the
funeral home was
employee
this?
had,
This was in what, Philadelphia? I think it was Philadelphia.
okay, cause
Somewhere.
I forgot what she said had happened. But I would have tore that place up. And the employee had his nerve to tell her, don't make a scene.
Yeah. That was completely out of order for the funeral home directors to even say that to a family that's grieving. Um,
Hmm.
but I mean, let alone when you're in the wrong and you were supposed to do something that you was paid to do and you didn't do it right.
Right.
To tell a person not to make a scene is completely out of order. But yeah, we talked about that on the last show, brother.
And then they say like the reason why the son's body was full of maggots, the employee told her there were some flies that got on the son. I mean, that was improper.
Yeah, that's well. I tell you what, that funeral home has a heck of a lawsuit on their hands,
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
because
oh
they can't
yeah,
get
it'll be
around that.
bad.
Yeah. But appreciate the call, brother. Thank you.
Hmm.
Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Hi, how are you?
Finding yourself.
Oh, I'm well. This is Angela. My question is with Diddy now, you're saying that about him trafficking. So if a pimp had women going out of town with their consent now, and they not put in jail. So if Kathy had consented to all that, why is he being convicted?
But
You
those
know why?
those
I
charges
mean,
was different from
trafficking.
what Cassie.
Well, actually, he
Well,
was acquitted on the sex trafficking. So
Yep.
he was acquitted on that. So the sex
okay,
trafficking and the racketeering conspiracy, he was acquitted.
The more serious charge. He just was guilty or found guilty of uh transportation to engage in prostitution.
And
It was 2 counts of that. So both of those counts have a maximum
of
of 10
10 years.
years. And so that's why we say that, he has the ability to serve 20 years. Now, I don't think that he's going to serve
I
anything,
don't
to
think
be
he'll serve
honest.
anything. Yeah.
But I am surprised that he was found guilty.
yeah, because it wasn't like she did it unwillingly.
Yeah, she was
It's
trying to say, man, that she was co-hosting to it and that the drugs and all that other stuff. But who knows? There's no way to really prove that. That it was the drugs, or if you willingly wanted to do it. Like you might have felt some kind of way, and you might want it to, for that to happen. Who knows?
I don't know. I think you can,
okay.
a man with
So
money like that can coerce any
when she
person to do
when
anything.
she got on the stand and the threesomes that she agreed to having, you know, she didn't make her do that. She said she enjoyed it.
Right, exactly. But she was trying to say that she was under the influence, which again, there's no way to prove because you took the drug. We don't know if you took it willingly or if it was forced to you. But to be honest with you, people with high sex drives, They want stuff like that. They want to be involved in stuff like that. We don't know if she has a high sex drive or not. But to just put it all on Puffy, like he made you take your clothes off
Right.
and be involved in this stuff is not fair.
That's just exactly true. So that's all I'm just trying to figure out because, it doesn't seem like he's getting a fair deal, especially as far as she's concerned.
Yeah, like I said, he 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 engaged in these acts, so I don't know about fair or not. I
Well,
just know about when it comes to people that look like me and you, the justice system, they don't care about fair.
the only
Right.
reason why.
So
Oh, go ahead, Angela.
what if you engaged in that act?
I'll probably be in
And
jail.
no, hold on now. But if the lady was with you, and y'all in it together, and she said, "Hey, well, I'm willing," it's not like you made her do it. Just say let me use you and I as an example. So say if I said me and Ryan out, we getting down, and he wanted to try something new, and I'm like, I'm down.
Oh, he would like that.
Hey, man, hold on,
You see
brother.
the smile on
Hey,
his
there
face?
you go, man. I'm turning your mic
He's showing
off,
all the
man.
teeth too.
I'm turning mics
He is
off.
showing
Mics
all the
off.
teeth.
Lord.
Mics is off except for mine. No, go ahead, talk.
So, but I'm just, I'm just saying, if Ryder brought that to me, knowing that I got a high sex drive, then I'll be like, yeah, let's try it.
Back in my
Might
day,
be
this was
something
called Thirsty
exciting.
Thursdays. So right out made.
Hey, man.
He made.
Hey, man.
Thirsty
Hey,
Thursdays.
man.
Yeah.
What you mean thirsty Thursday?
Man, Byron. Hey,
Oh,
man, Byron over
what you
there
talking-
smiling.
Leave me out of
Hey,
this.
come on, Byron.
What you
this.
talking
Byron over there
about?
rubbing his hands together like
Yeah.
Leave me
Birdman.
out of this.
Okay, see,
You
told
on a whole nother level,
Yeah.
baby. But anyway, I'm gonna let that alone. Mr. Ryder, you all have a good day. I just tried to ask a question, and he done went somewhere else with it. But y'all have a
Angela,
good
they
one.
having fun with you.
All
They
right.
having fun with
I know. It's nothing. I don't think being serious. Y'all have a good day.
you
Yes,
as
ma'am.
well. Thank you,
All right. Bye bye.
caller. Thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so I've been watching an alert out of Washington, D.C. Some a black gentleman mentioned about 34 black women are missing in the Washington, D.C. area, and 34 more girls are still missing of African descent. And why aren't we saying anything about that? Well, this is my call. When our black women are missing and our black men in Canada are missing, this is Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say something because this is a white woman that said a lot of people don't know that black people live in Canada too.
Right.
Black men are missing in Canada, and black women are missing in Washington, D.C. They said 34 black women came up missing in the Washington, D.C. area, and then another 34 are missing right now. None of it's been across the news. Some of the girls are young, and no Amber Alerts have been shouted. But when that little white girl came up missing and went on a thing with that old man for over 2 months, oh, they put that on the news
Mm-hmm.
for over 2-3 months. And my thing is, like I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna let y'all go because I know you got other calls. As a person that's lost, he's like my great nephew. They never found his body
I'm sorry to
down
hear
in
that.
Tennessee. Yeah. So here, the thing is, my sister hasn't done her part, or my niece, excuse me, my niece, she hasn't come to terms to know that he may not be with us. The thing is there's a lot of things going on. We need to start getting involved with our networks, are black people, the people that are really trying to find out what is going on with our race and speak it out. Use the venues that we have, like you all, or Urban View,
Hmm.
wherever we can, and do what we must do. Get out here and make a difference. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak up. I love y'all. You are a blessing to this community. This is Sister Dean. Y'all know me, Annette. I love you. Ride out. You are you. I love your laugh. By the way, I love your laugh.
Thank you.
I get the biggest joy out of your laugh. And the young man, I miss your poetry that you give us. And Debo, you know I love you. I just want y'all to know that, and I'm gonna pray for our people and our community every single day. God bless you. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Thank
God
you.
bless you.
Thank you. You too. And that is the reason why, Keith uh dubbed this program Community Voice, is because, the community has so much knowledge to edify everyone, as well as the host and the co-host. And so I appreciate you for calling us and letting us know about the ladies that are in DC. And this isn't just in DC, this is across the nation. And as you alluded to, this is across the world, that individuals are being taken away from their homes, without a trace. And not enough is being spoken about these issues. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, JD. Hey, now the charges that he got charged with actually was what, prostitution, right?
Transportation to engage in prostitution.
Transportation to engage in prostitution. So that would kind of like fall under the Man's Act, would it not? But that's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
Right,
that's how
right.
the Mann Act was
yeah.
started, wasn't it, with the guy, the boxer that left from here and went across to Illinois
Yeah, yeah,
with a
yeah,
white girl.
yeah,
Jack, what's his name?
yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. The old school boxer.
Yeah,
I can't think of his name.
Jack somebody. I forgot
Uh,
his name. But anyway,
I
man.
know who you're talking
Now, I thought he was getting charged with prostitution, not transport.
No,
No. So he got charged with transportation
to engage
to engage, and
in prostitution.
yep. So
So both of those
Now,
is a
now
maximum of
that's
10-year
heavy
sentences.
because you can take your woman to a spot and you don't even know that she's going to go in there and do an escort, and you get charged with pandering, or you get charged with human trafficking, and you didn't even know she was going to go in there and do it, but you took her to the hotel.
right, exactly. That's like, man. That's just like if you go out of town with it, and I'm just gonna say this. Say you're dating a stripper, right? And you go out of town with the stripper just to vacate, but she wants to go dance and do all this other stuff, and something happened. You're not
So you get
responsible
charged.
for that.
You get
Exactly.
charged. Now she gonna get a misdemeanor.
Exactly.
Most women get misdemeanors for the
Exactly.
prostitution act, but because you took her, you getting a felony. I
Or
mean,
or or she
I
went
never kind of could
or
figure
she
this one
went and
out.
met you there, because you don't
Huh?
have to take her there. She could have left and met you there. Because a lot of those
Well,
times in this Diddy trial, they were saying that he was already at the
but I
place
don't
and
believe
them
Diddy
people
went and
met
took
him there.
nobody nowhere.
No, no,
I
no.
don't think he went, drove, or got
Right,
in a
right,
private.
and
Well,
and
maybe in a private jet. Maybe
right.
he did took him up and
Hmm.
take her.
And that's my
You know.
point, that they met them there, and they could still put that on you.
And
I
that's
could I could
crazy.
already I
Yeah.
could already be
Well, let me
somewhere
ask you a
and they
question
meet
about
me there.
prostitution.
Yeah. Yeah.
When a broad call you and you call a broad and she always want money before y'all get a chance to hook up and kick it, is that a form of prostitution?
I mean,
I guess so.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
to be honest with you, Miss, if we're gonna
Well,
be
no, no, she a
technical,
good. She
yeah, you
supposed to
We
be
right.
gotta do.
good.
We
She
just
don't
gotta
do
do
these type
black
of.
and
You
white.
got some money,
Yes,
Yes.
then
yeah,
you
Doc,
want to
you
get her.
right.
You want to. And by the way, I ain't got no problem with Diddy besides him chasing that boy coochie.
Yeah.
Other than that, hey man, he all in with me. But when he started
All right, that's
chasing that
strike one,
boy
Meek.
coochie, then
Ah!
I had a problem. You know that boy coochie, I ain't
That's
with that.
strike two.
Right. That made me kind of get back off of it. But I understand that these are groupie ladies trying to
Yeah,
get some of that money. Now
yeah,
Cassidy took that 20 mil
yeah.
from me. I
30. It
wondered if
was
that
30.
violates
30.
that contract. because she was supposed to be silent. So I'm hoping
But
that
if
it
you get
violates that and
subpoenaed,
she
that I
don't get a
know
dime
Debo
of that
said
20
that
million.
earlier. But if you get subpoenaed, that's federal. You know, you
Yeah, but you
gotta.
don't got to go to that subpoena.
So don't.
Yeah,
You don't
you
got.
just go to
You ain't
jail
got to go
like
to that
Barry
subpoena.
Bonds'
Now what they
lawyer.
can do
No,
is hold
but
you in
your
contempt.
lawyer,
What's
no, he's
contempt? A few days for 20 mil. Come on, man. Go on, sit me down for that 20 mil because I ain't going over there talking to people about this here. We done cut a deal. But anyway, man, I'm just thinking if they charging him with prostitution, and let me tell you guys something. If you get caught buying a hooker, that's prostitution. They're gonna charge you with prostitution.
Right.
It's gonna be on your record as
Solicited.
prostitution.
yeah.
So, so I'm just curious. And what's the difference between a man go to the club at night and
Yeah.
buying at 12
Yeah.
o'clock when most men go about 11:30 just before the club closed, buying plenty of drinks.
Or
and this conversation, what you gonna do after the club?
Or-
What you gonna do when you
yeah,
leave in?
yeah.
What y'all gonna do?
yeah,
Hey, he getting the broad drunk.
yeah.
Alcohol is the number one drug.
I
So
mean,
what
not
do you
o-
call that?
not only that, but if you go to these strip clubs and you tipping the stripper and you doing that, but then after they get off work, you still want to hang with them and take them out to eat and all of the you still spending money, a form of money
That's a form
to
that's a
actually
form of
get with them.
prostitution,
Yeah,
man.
man. So if,
That kind go under the radar. That kind of stuff go under the
Yeah,
radar.
man.
But what
So-
I'm more
yeah.
concerned about is these women that's calling in, these great straight women and great straight men that are calling in, and they man is giving them. What about going giving them the cash app money?
Yeah.
Is that prostitution?
yeah, man, man,
Here
listen.
go one right quick, and I'm finna blow your mind. Then I'm gonna get out of here, right? Here's a woman that say, I ain't gonna never go get on stage and dance for no dollars and shaking my butt. I ain't gonna never do that. I ain't gonna never sell myself. But she'll go to the blood bank and sell the most important part of her body, the white blood cells that fight God's natural antibiotic that he put in your butt to fight off the common the flu, helping some kind of cancer is fighting off. It's your immune system, and she'll go sell that for $25, $30 a sack.
Hold on.
Is that prostitution?
Meats, hold on. Now I was
No.
riding with you all the way up to there. That is
No.
wait,
She's selling her body.
wait. No, Meats, come on, bro. Because
Come on now.
wait,
No,
wait,
no,
wait,
no, you
bro.
come
Give me
on.
wait,
She's
hold on,
selling her
man. Give me that.
body.
Meats,
How you
I'm
gonna
gonna push the button, brother. I'm trying not to push the button. But listen, what I'm saying is when you go do something like that, you're helping people. You're helping people. You selling your body is not
Hey,
helping
listen.
nobody, man. So man,
I
stop it with that,
understand but
Meats.
hold on, man. Listen. She's selling her body.
She's selling her blood, brother.
The brother, that's a part of your body, the most important part. It's more important than your oral. It's more important than your vaginal. It's more important than if you're a male doing it. It's more important than all of that. It's the antibiotic, man.
Hey, Mitch,
that God put
we
in
appreciate you, man.
That's deep. No,
Yes,
I
sir.
know
And
That's
I
deep.
was riding with him.
That's why I said, let me
Meats.
blow your mind.
Hey man, I'm gonna have to
We
hit the
appreciate
button,
you.
brother. I was riding with him all the way up to that point right there, man. Because I'm like, come on, man, stop it. And
We
when you-
know that we're gonna just take a transition. All right. We know that the Diddy trial has garnered much attention. Like I said, that trial and his verdict was one of them verdicts that was heard around the world. But we will move on to something that Michelle talked about earlier, and I do want to talk just briefly about is that Trump is holding $6 billion from after school programs and summer programs, and this is something that many of our youth need and has benefited from. So when we come back from the break, when we come Okay. The $6 billion that is being held is something that is truly, truly, truly detrimental to our youth. We always talk about that our youth don't have nothing to do, that our youth need more outlets in order to expound on their creativity and just give them a new avenue to see what they can be and what they can do. And Trump is holding $6 billion worth for these after school programs and summer programs. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Yes, I have a comment about the Diddy trial. I um, did agree with it because I feel like anytime you go to a party It's your choice whether you stay or not. The only thing I feel like he was truly guilty of is roundhousing her in that hallway. And really, who keeps videos that many years? So my thing is to all these young people, these groupies that's going to these parties, you know what you're going to get into before you go. And if you feel like it's a money thing, you should let them people know up front. I'm a real woman, and if I'm uncomfortable in the situation and there's a lot of things going on at a party, I'm just gonna get up and leave. Nobody held them hostage, so therefore they should have left. But the money got good, then they got mad because they found out they wasn't the only one. You have to know when you're going into something like that that you probably side chick 2, 4, 5, and 7.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because every state is was told to me as a young person, every state furnishes their own. That means every state furnishes their own women or
Yeah,
men to these people.
yeah,
So therefore, if you choose to get in the mix, that's your fault. And he should not have been tried for all of that. But apparently, he must have made somebody mad.
yeah. I
Thank y'all.
totally, I totally agree, bro.
Thank you. One break. This is Community Voice. You are listening to Devon Jones, DJ the Protege, here on a special Thursday in place of our esteemed host, Reverend Keith B. Paris. We'll be right back.
you wish that you could get better information about your black or brown skin? Here is your
World Skin Health Day is a global initiative by the International League of Dermatologic Societies and sponsored by CeraVe, happening on July 8th to educate people about the importance of skin health and encourage discussion and actions that work to improve skin health.
This year's theme, No Health Without Skin Health, highlights our global effort to ensure that everyone, everywhere, can benefit from greater awareness, education, and equal access to dermatologic care.
Join Medical College of Wisconsin on Tuesday, July 8th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at Thrive on King. There will be educational programming for adults and children, a kids' corner with activities for children of all ages, free quick spot checks for your skin, hair, and nail concerns, skincare sample giveaways, and free food from Twisted Plants to the first 100 attendees.
For more information, visit us on Instagram at MCW_dermatology. That's Medical College of Wisconsin's Instagram page at MCW_dermatology.
See you then.
Welcome back to Community Voice. I'm Devon Jones, DJ the Protege, here on a special Thursday in place of Keith. Right now, we have a special interview with Dr. Shola Vaughn in regards to World Skin Health Day. Good morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So can you just explain what this day means and what this day represents?
Yeah, a couple of dermatologic societies came together, so skin doctors around the world, and they wanted to kind of show people, especially people with skin of color, some things about their skin that they might not have known. And so they kind of organized these programs worldwide to just teach people about skin of color and about skin health in general. And so Milwaukee's actually doing a partnership with Tanzania on this day. So we're doing a program here at Thrive on King, and then Tanzania is doing kind of a similar thing in Africa.
Wow, that's really exciting. So when we talk about skin, I know as a guy, we don't know anything about skincare. We know about being clean, and clean involves soap.
Yep.
What more does it take to just have healthy skin?
I think, the big thing that people of color especially don't always remember is sunscreen. To have healthy skin, we really do need to protect ourselves from the sun. There's this idea that we're supposed to be getting vitamin D and we need the sun for vitamin D. And that is probably true to some degree, but we overdo it. We get too much sun, and that can contribute to aging and sun damage. And then that condition, melasma, that sometimes older Black women especially and Latinx women will notice, that like darkening on the forehead and cheeks. We'll be talking about that actually, melasma, at World Skin Health Day. We'll have a table set up, we'll have some information to give out, and we'll have some sunscreen free samples. But I think that it is so important that people wash their skin gently. And if you have good skin, like I'm looking at you right now, and you have good skin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So then you don't want to do too much to it. Right now, there's billion-dollar industry around all these products, and people are putting all kinds of stuff on their face. And honestly, less is more. If you have good skin, wear sunscreen, a gentle moisturizer. You don't need to do too much.
I actually have to give all the credit to my girlfriend, because like I said, all I did was soap on my face, and but she introduced me to products. And then also, as my understanding of skincare evolved, she also introduced me to vegan products, and actually reading the ingredients on certain products,
So important.
so that we can actually have healthy skin. I am one of the biggest, I guess you could say to a fault, that I say, oh, I don't need sunscreen.
Yeah.
I don't need sunscreen. But individuals that tell me when they do go south and south of the border, sunscreen is extremely important. Can you just
Absolutely.
explain why sunscreen is important?
What we kind of forget is that it's not only when you burn that there's damage to the skin, but also when you tan. So, when I was younger, I liked to have a little tan on me because I thought it evened out my blemishes and made me look nicer. But in actuality, that was just a tan is always damage.
Mhm.
It is, you are seeing the effects of one kind of UV ray from the sun. UVB is what causes kind of the tanning. But the UVA that comes with it,
Mhm.
which we cannot filter that out, they come together when they come from the sun. The UVA is causing this damage, and it can, on a microscopic level, cause mutations in the skin cells
Mm.
that can lead to skin cancer down the road. And people of color are not immune to that. We can get melanoma. That's what Bob Marley died of. We can get melanoma just like anyone else.
What are some more of the misnomers that people of color think about skin and not being able to burn and things of that nature?
Yeah,
What
some other
are
myths.
right myths
Yeah.
that should be dispelled?
Well, I think one thing, and we will also be talking about this at World Skin Health Day, that really affects women of color is alopecia.
Mm.
There's a lot of myths around hair loss
Mm-hmm.
and really understanding what that term means. Alopecia is just an umbrella term for all kinds of hair loss.
Mm-hmm.
And I think where women of color get into trouble is that there is a subtype of alopecia called traction alopecia, which is when the hairs have been pulled for so long that they just kind of give up.
Mm.
And when women have other kinds of alopecia, especially alopecia that scars, they can sometimes go to a healthcare provider who might tell them that their hair problem is because of pulling.
Mm.
And there are high risk hairstyles. There's sister locks, which is what I have.
Mhm.
That's actually a high risk hairstyle for traction alopecia.
Really?
There's box braids, any tight cornrows,
Mm.
certain weaves, anything that really pulls on the hair.
Mhm.
Those are high risk for traction alopecia. But that is not all there is for Black women.
Right.
There are other things that can cause hair loss, especially scarring hair loss. And if we don't tell the difference between those two,
Mm-hmm.
those changes, those hair follicles can be permanently lost. And so it is, if you are worried about your hair loss and you go to somebody and they tell you it's only from pulling,
Mm-hmm.
I would get a second opinion.
Does the body is one, they all work together. What are some of the benefits to having healthy skin that may directly affect other areas of your health?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a dermatologist. I'm a
Mhm.
board certified dermatologist. And so I love the skin.
Mhm.
And I think that the skin is the most amazing organ. It is the largest organ in the body. I'm always proud of that.
Right.
And it is our first line of defense against against outside invaders. So one of the most important things to having a healthy skin barrier is that you can fight off infections.
Mhm.
And, as you get older, so, I'm sure there's many young people listening to your show, but many older people too. And as you get older, it is so important that your skin barrier is intact, because if you have really bad athlete's foot, we call
Mhm.
that tinea pedis. We'll be talking about that. We'll have a table for that at World Skin Health Day on Tuesday. But if you have really bad athlete's foot and that skin is open, bacteria can get in there. People think, oh, it's just athlete's foot. My feet are itchy. Who
Right.
cares? Bacteria can crawl in there. Now, all of a sudden, you have leg cellulitis, like an infection of the leg. Now you're in the hospital. Now you got a hospital-acquired pneumonia,
Mhm.
and it just spirals. So something so simple like a little skin issue can actually turn into a big deal. So I really do believe that the skin is the most important first line against
Mhm.
outside. And then the other thing, we'll also be talking about this condition, hidradenitis suppurativa. This is that recurring boils in the armpits and groin.
Mm.
And that is something that disproportionately affects people of color. And so we'll be talking about that, because I think there's a lot of myths and misunderstandings around that. And if you have that problem, hidradenitis, you can have a lot of other health problems that go with it. And so really important that people understand how sometimes the skin is the first sign of something like diabetes, of problems with obesity and heart issues. And we have to understand and thank the skin
Right.
for giving us those warning signs.
You say that you're a dermatologist. As you grow up, there is a big list of what do you want to be when you grow up. What drew you to becoming a dermatologist?
I actually thought when I entered medical school that I would be an orthopedic surgeon. My
Mhm.
dad is a chiropractor. He
Mhm.
was a chiropractor before he passed away. And I wanted to go to Africa with him and do surgeries on kids with
Mhm.
spine problems. And so I thought I would be an orthopedic surgeon. I found out that those were not my people. Because, they're very into sports, and
Right.
this was not me. And so I started looking around for other specialties. And what I love about dermatology is we get to do procedures. So, we cut out skin cancers.
Mhm.
We do injections for people's hair loss. And also, we get to take care of adults and kids. A lot of specialties, you only get to choose one or the other. And I'm actually a vulva specialist. So I specialize in conditions that affect the genital skin of women.
Okay.
And it's such a small niche, but there are a lot of conditions that affect the genitals particularly. I'm not sexist. I see men too. I see issues that affect the genital skin of men. But when I discovered that there was something I could do that would be such a feminist thing, and also allow me to give back to my community, which is people of color in Milwaukee, where I'm from.
Right.
I thought this is it's the perfect specialty for me. I think it's hard to find doctors of color
Yes.
that you like. And
Really?
there's just not a lot of them.
Mhm.
There's not a lot of doctors of color to choose from in the the pool. The number is smaller than the percentage of Black people in America.
Yeah.
People of color, Latinx people of color in America. The doctor percentage is lower,
Mhm.
so it's harder for us to find. And there's data that if you have something in common with your doctor, if you like your doctor, that your health outcomes are better. Like you will be healthier and live longer. And so I always encourage people, even though Milwaukee is tough, it's hard to find anywhere is tough. It's hard to find a doctor you like, but if you can find a doctor who you think you have something in common with, awesome. They don't have to be a person of color, but they should at least, hear you out, listen to you, understand issues that affect people of color.
No, I truly agree. I started off in the education field. I've always been in the social services field, and especially with working with youth and families, the relatability piece just goes a long way. Especially because you know, just like everyone, we want to know that you care. And if we know that you care, then we can truly invest in the betterment of ourselves, which that sounds kind of crazy, but we always as providers, we say, help us help you. Well, that first piece into relatability is what will cause,
Absolutely.
that client to, be able to open up.
Absolutely.
You say you're from Milwaukee. What high school did you graduate from?
Homestead High School in Mequon.
Okay.
I'm always a little sad that I didn't graduate from MPS, but what could I do? My parents made that choice.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you speak more on what will be had at your event?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned how important it is that you feel like your providers care about you.
Mm-hmm.
And, we have done, for 4 years now, we've done an annual skin screening at G's Clippers. And now this will be our first time doing this World Skin Health Day. But I do these events, and I encourage our Medical College of Wisconsin department. We're all in on this. We all do this together. And the reason we do it is to show the community that we are showing up for you. Like we want you to know that we care. We're not just in this for, I don't know, to make money or to like the prestige of it. I don't know what people might think, but we're here because we really wanted to take care of people. And so this event on Tuesday is, I think a good way for us to show that to the community that we're here for you. We're going to have a food truck with Twisted Plants. Have you ever eaten at Twisted Plants?
Yeah. I
love that restaurant. When I first started going to them, they had one shop in Cudahy. Now they have like 3 shops, and it's vegan, Black owned, and you wouldn't know that it was vegan. It's just like really clean, delicious food.
Right.
And so we're gonna have a food truck there with them. And the way it's going to work is that the first 100 people who kind of come inside get what we're calling a passport, like a piece of paper that says that they've like visited a couple of the stations. Then they can take that to the Twisted Plants food truck and get a free meal of their choice from like this menu that they've curated for us. So that will be really fun. And then we're also going to have a kids section. So if you have young kids, come on down. It's 4:30 to 6:30. So we're hoping people maybe like after work, they can like, get their kids and come on over. For the kids, we're going to have their ability to like do some like arts and crafts stuff and just like talk about sun. And then we're going to have a bunch of samples to give the kids and the adults.
Sounds good. Before we end, how can the community connect with you?
Well, I'll say a couple of things.
Mhm.
I don't know if you mean me personally or the, dermatology in general.
Both.
But for connecting with me, I work at Freighter. I also am half-time at the VA, but that's only for veterans. My Freighter clinic is booking out pretty far. And I have a lot of patients who come and they say, I waited a year for this appointment, but I really wanted to have a Black dermatologist. And what I tell people is that our white colleagues are excellent.
Mhm.
They really are. And especially the ones at Medical College of Wisconsin, they have been trained to take care of skin of color. They know what they're doing and they care. And so while they might not look like you, I do believe, I will vouch for them. I think they can do a good job taking care of our community too. If you want to wait, I'm happy to see you. You know, you can call up and make an appointment, but just be
That
prepared
means
that
you're a
it's a
big
long wait.
deal. You know, you gotta.
all of the dermatologists are booking out pretty far. So that's how to connect with me personally. I'm not really on social media too much.
Mhm.
I'm just seeing patients humbly at my clinics. But if you want to connect with MCW Dermatology
Mhm.
or find out more about our World Skin Health Day event happening on Tuesday, that is happening at our Instagram page, which is MCW, which stands for Medical College of Wisconsin, _ dermatology. MCW _ dermatology. That's our Instagram where you can find out more about the event.
Sounds good. Dr. Shola Vaughn, just repeat your event and all of the activities that are going on.
Yeah, the event is World Skin Health Day. It is happening at Thrive on King, that amazing, historic, beautiful building on Tuesday, July 8th from 4:30 to 6:30. There's going to be educational programming for adults and children. We'll be talking about all kinds of skin conditions, including acne, atopic dermatitis, alopecia, which is hair loss, melasma. We'll be talking about vitiligo, melanoma. So come on down and you can, find out some information. We're also going to have a skin screening there. So if you have a spot that you want us to look at and tell you if you need to be worried about it, we can check a spot here and there. We'll have some board certified dermatologists who are doing that, both, the entire time between 4:30 and 6:30. I have no idea what the demand is going to be like. I'm hoping we'll be able to get to everybody that has a spot they want us to look at, but come down early and get your place for that. And then we'll have activities for kids. We'll have the skincare sample giveaways, and then we'll have free food from Twisted Plans to the first 100 people who get that passport filled out.
And this sounds like an exciting event. I just learned so much from you within these past, 10 to 12 minutes. And so hopefully the community indulges and engages with this event because, I skincare is healthcare. And so
Yes, thank you for saying that.
I just learned that today. I just learned that from you. So thank you. But thank you for joining us today and informing the community about your event.
Thank you so much for having me.
No
See you all
problem.
down at Thrive on King on Tuesday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, that's fine. Again, that was Dr. Shola Vaughn expressing her event on a World Skincare Day, Skin Health Day, excuse me. Callers, we are open 414 444 5250. We are just moving along today. I want to thank you all for listening and engaging in the program today. Just want to give a shout out to everyone again that is on YouTube. Give a shout out to everyone that is on Facebook. I know that Cyrus Caldwell, a North Division graduate, and also a UWM former basketball player, is listening. So want to give a shout out to him just for listening to the program. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on air. You're on air.
Hello.
Yes.
I wanted to know what's her name, Dr. Bond, Bond.
Spelled Vaughn.
Oh, see, I had that wrong. And the address would be where?
For the Thrive on King event?
Yes.
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to have to look it up. It's on North Avenue. Hold on. It is 2153 North MLK.
Thank you so much.
Have you been to that Thrive on King building?
Not yet, but I've been wanting to get in there.
Oh my goodness.
Now you
It
give
is
me a
beautiful.
good reason to do so.
Yeah, now you have a good reason to come on down.
Yes. Okay.
See you Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
So Dr. Vaughn, you just spoke about skincare. I didn't realize the effects that it would have actually on your hair.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that will be detrimental to our skin that will affect other areas of our body.
One thing that we'll be talking about on Tuesday too is this condition called pseudofolliculitis barbae.
Mm-hmm.
It has a crazy name, but it refers to. Do you know how sometimes, especially men of color who have kind of really curly hair,
Mm-hmm.
when they shave their beards real close, they'll get those like dark bumps and
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it's not really acne, but they're just like these like kind of hair bumps.
Yeah.
People get them on the back of the scalp too when they
Right.
kind of like shave real close to the back of the scalp. That condition, like I said, I've worked with G's Clippers in the past to do events, and so the barbers there are very interested in this because a lot of men come in and they have that problem, and it's like, what do I do about this? The issue is that because that hair is so curly, when you cut it really close to the skin, it actually starts to curl before it comes all the way out. And so it's poking underneath the skin.
Mm.
And so you get that inflammation, and the skin is not happy about that. The solution to it is to leave the hair a little bit long so that it kind of has a chance to fully come out before it starts to curl. But that's pretty tough because a lot of men, they want that really close shave, that real smooth feeling.
Yeah.
And so, we'll be talking about some other things that you can do for that condition. But I think the first thing, and a lot of times it's the first thing for all these skin problems, is just to recognize that that these things are not quote unquote normal.
Don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it. Don't think, oh, this is not a big deal. It'll be fine. Because sometimes that condition, if left long enough, can turn into other problems. And so, same thing with alopecia, same thing with vitiligo, actually.
Mhm.
Vitiligo is that disease where you start losing pigment.
Mhm.
It's actually an autoimmune condition where your skin, your immune system is attacking part of itself. And in
Right.
this case, it attacks the pigment cells. And this is the disease that Michael Jackson had that turned him white. And so in the past, we used to think that this was, kind of cosmetic, like, oh, that's your problem. But now insurance pays for the treatments for it. You can treat it. But also at the same time, models have vitiligo now, and they're
Right.
flaunting it. They're proud of it. They're like,
Right.
this is my body and it's beautiful.
We actually have a basketball player, Kyle Kuzma. His I think fiance now has vitiligo, and she's a really big model.
I love that. I mean,
Mhm.
it is such a change from what we had before. People are really embracing that all skin
Mhm.
types can be beautiful. But it's interesting because it's kind of blurring that line between, okay, is this a problem or is it not a problem?
Right.
I think for vitiligo, it is a medical condition. And if you're interested in treating it, then you deserve that treatment.
How long has the outreach of your institution been connecting with the community?
As far back, so I've been, kind of actively engaged in it as far back as 2018, which is when we started doing something called the Saturday Clinic for the Uninsured. And you can look that up if you are uninsured and have skin conditions. We're the first Saturday of every month. We have this free clinic. And so that's been back, gosh, I mean, that's only 7 years, but it feels like a long time.
Mhm. Well, can you please repeat your program, the event, and then all of the activities that's going on?
Yeah, sure. We are having on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, July 8th, from 4:30 to 6:30 at the Thrive on King building on MLK, not North Avenue,
Right.
I learned. We are having this World Skin Health Day, and I'm going to be there the whole time. I would love to talk to people, meet you, come find me. I'm the kind of short Black woman with sister locks. Maybe there'll be other ones like me, but I'll be probably wearing my white coat. So come find me. And we are having an educational program to learn about a slew of conditions that affect people of color. So things like hidradenitis suppurativa, vitiligo, alopecia. And then we're going to have some activities for kids. So bring your kids. And then we're going to have some free food from Twisted Plants, a Black-owned business here in Milwaukee. We're going to have a skin cancer and spot check, a skin, hair, and nails screening. So if you have a spot on your nails that you're not sure about, maybe a brown streak, if you have a hair problem that you're wondering about, if you have a lump or bump on the skin that you're just not sure, is this a problem or not?
Yeah.
The board certified dermatologist can take a look.
Sounds good. We're going to take this call, then we're going to head into the break. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on air.
Morning. To the lady there, when you're talking about the shaving part, am I mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, that if you shave with the grain, like kind of like you have a lawn and it's leaning towards one direction, it won't be as close, but it won't be ingrown. Whereas if I shave against the grain, I'll get a nice, really deep shave. But then, is it true that that's when it starts growing, like you mentioned a minute ago, there's a hook right underneath the skin, like a boy's 13-year-old have all these pimples. But if you shave with it, and you're not going to get it close of a shave, but it will not be as likely to grow in. Am I wrong in describing
No,
it
you
that
are
way?
exactly right. So we do
Mm.
encourage people to shave with the grain. We encourage them to use, if they must use a razor, make sure they're changing out their razor frequently and sanitizing it, because
Yeah.
you can have
Yeah.
overgrowth of bacteria
Right.
on it.
Right.
Use some kind of moisturizer both before and immediately after. My favorite thing is Vaseline, but there are lots of other options for people. And then if you can, don't shave so close. So instead of using a straight razor,
Right.
use clippers, use them on, a low setting, but, only, don't shave as close as possible. Leave
Right.
a little hair there.
Okay. Thanks a lot. That's really helpful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.
All right. You are listening to Community Voice. I am Devon Jones, DJ the Protege, and we will be right back. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is Community Voice. My name is Devon Jones, DJ the Protege, here on a special Thursday in place of the esteemed Reverend Keith B. Paris. For phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Just wanted to touch on just the Trump administration holding $6 billion for after school programs and summer programs. And I just think that it is so unfortunate that our youth have to suffer. Well, really, a number of people are suffering under this administration. They are not discriminating, even though they are discriminating, but they are not discriminating. You know, whether it is the elderly, the youth, people of color, immigrants, things of that nature. I am truly a product of summer programs, after school programs. I grew up in both Laverne Way Boys and Girls Club and the Parkline YMCA. You know, I double dipped. You know, I went to school in the Parkline area, and then my uncle worked for over 30 years with the Boys and Girls Club at Laverne Way, and so I truly am a product of these after school programs, summer programs, and if it had not been for them, who knows the tools and the skills that I would have learned.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, I believe in that these after school programs are very important. I remember, they had a lot of these programs even when I was, the teenage years going through those. They had a lot of after school programs for kids at Sherman Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, at the LBC. Well, we
Mm-hmm.
call it the LBC.
Yep.
In Parkland Y.
Right.
So yeah, it seems like, man, that now maybe I could be wrong, but it seems like that they're setting the future up to go backwards.
Well, they've been doing that.
Yeah.
They've been doing that. And, you know, in my opinion, a lot of these politicians, they play in our face.
Of course.
They play in our face. It's a lot of things that go promised, and then once they get elected, then you don't hear about it again. It's a lot of politicians that they show up when it's time to get that vote,
And then you don't see
and
them no
then you
more.
don't see them anymore. And so, um, as a collective, we have to just be more informed,
Yeah.
and a lot of that takes ourselves to take the initiative
Yeah.
and researching this stuff, because we can't. I mean, God knows the community loves Michelle,
Yeah.
right? And just how informed and informational she is and getting the word out. But we just can't rely on Michelle. We got to do our own
we are. Yeah.
research. We just can't rely on Keith.
Right.
We have to do our own research,
Yeah.
and knowing, what these people are about, what are the issues that they stand on, and actually who's backing them, because you will find out what their agenda is just by the individuals
Yeah.
that are supporting them and putting that money behind them. Like they always say, follow the money, and when you follow the money, you will get answers when it comes to things that impact the community. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Yeah, good morning. First thing I was going to say, we also got to call these politicians out.
Mhm.
You see, because they love asking for your vote, but they don't invite you to the barbecue.
Mhm.
But then when somebody getting ready to put them knuckles on you, then they want to call you to save them. So I think you should call those politicians should be called out. Because, some of these people who vote, see, they don't like it when you call these politicians, you get voicemail, emails, and then when it comes time to other places that deals with the whites, everybody in front of the camera. But then when it comes to your neighborhood, don't nobody got nothing to say.
Yeah.
But then when they ready to let them 3 pit bulls on them, They called a big sister who got like 12 Great Danes and 2 Eldorado Baris with 900-pound alligators talking about help me, help me, help me. And I hope some of them politicians is listening. So I think you need to call them out. And if you can't call them out, baby, they can get their stuff and get the hell on out.
I appreciate you, caller.
Have a good one.
You too. Caller, thank you for your patience. You're on there.
Morning again. This is John. Not on health this time, but on politics. There's a theory called public choice theory. It's related to the idea that you devolve powers to the local. And it's sort of similar to when Black folks talk about buying, in your own community. It also sort of like saying the economy of normal everyday life is you're going to buy from a grocery store that's 2 minutes away rather than 10 minutes away, as long as everything's equal. I can get the same bottle of orange juice a block away rather than walking 10 minutes, and it's the exact same bottle. It may cost me 10 cents more, maybe even a half dollar more, maybe even $1 more. But at that moment, if I can get that orange juice and it's the same quality, I need it. Plus, if I had a first aid center every half a block or every block, then it's better than walking a mile. And like you guys are also talking about food deserts and everything. Okay, so let's say you have local control. In economics, a condominium literally is the same thing. I know you guys hear me talk about Sudan. By miracle of whatever, there's this thing called Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. This is a macro condominium. It's called the Anglo-Egyptian condominium. Now it's the local condominium. It literally means co-dominion. So this is a micro economy. Now, the guy in your neighborhood shouldn't have to go to City Hall, like at 27 North, Prospect and Brady. We shouldn't have to go all the way downtown to have a nice little grocery store within walking distance. But the more we pay downtown, then we're going to sit there and argue with the person downtown. The more we pay Madison, that money has to go through so many channels. The more we pay Washington, 1,000 miles away, you got bureaucracy after bureaucracy. You have choosers and thinkers and choosers and thinkers, layers and layers. So you shouldn't have to get $6 million or $1 billion for a local stuff when all you're doing is you're shoving this money to Washington. So meanwhile, Baltimore is asking for Milwaukee dollars. Pittsburgh is asking for Milwaukee dollars. DC, the city, the same thing with the Mariana Islands way out there in the Pacific in Puerto Rico. So we're throwing all our money into DC, where a bunch of politicians are sitting there horse trading. Then they give money to growers of grains, and that's why we have government cheese, because they're artificially propping up the cheese price. So we're doing all this stuff. We're pouring billions of dollars to Washington, and we're not able to control it locally, where if you had that money in Milwaukee and never even sent it to Madison, never even sent it to Washington, you would be able to have your after-school program. But so much is lost in this endless, what is really imperialism against us, by us. We are a colony of ourselves. Mm-hmm. So that Washington, D.C. is the colonial empire, and we're supposed to be a sovereign state, and every individual is a sovereign citizen. And this isn't separatism. This is not separatism at all. This is where you control the fruits of your labor, and you and me get together and say, what do we want to do with our neighborhood? And if we're across at the other end of town, then whatever you do in your neighborhood is with your friends. I got friends and kin over at 27th North, so then maybe there's a certain amount of element in that neighborhood that has its own needs. Certain people over in my area, Brady and Prospect, that we have our own needs. But each one of these giant apartments in my area are like little villages. They even call them villages. Like on Ogden, you got the Pick and Save neighborhood, East Point. Each one of those apartment buildings, those condos, are literally like little autonomous zones. Mm-hmm. And if they control, each one could hypothetically imagine a place like San Marino, little micro city states, Monaco. Monaco is a super rich country with only several, dozen thousand citizens, but yet it's a rich country. Liechtenstein is a rich country, and they only have several thousand citizens. Luxembourg, where our former Congressman Barrett went as ambassador, is a landlocked country the size of Milwaukee County, and it's one of the richest countries in the world. They never had an empire. All they are is a banking center. So if we were a banking center and be hospitable to capitalism, don't be inhospitable to investors, don't start with the assumption that somebody bringing their money, you have to automatically jump in. What are you going to do for us? What are you going to do for us? assume he's already invested his money. Make it known that Wisconsin is a hotbed of capitalism. People pour their money. We can still regulate it, but don't say we're going to tax you at 40%. No, say let's tax you at 2%, and money will pour in, and not because government forced it, but because we become a hospitable island of, like people say, Singapore or Hong Kong. Hong Kong was never a sovereign country. And it was well known when it was given back to the communist government by the British, it was the capital of finance. And so that's why the communists said, well, we're going to let them stay capitalist, even though they went back on their political side, but it's still a major place with no resources, no natural resources, just like Luxembourg. There's no resources to speak of, but yet it's got one of the highest standards of living. So we certainly have access to one of the greatest places in the world, Lake Michigan,
Yes.
this waterway. And so there's no reason for us to be poor and begging for money from whoever's in Washington. Am I making any sense at all?
No, yeah, no, I definitely, you are so informed that sometimes, I can't keep up with you, but today I'm keeping up with you. So that means I've been learning.
I appreciate it, because I'm not trying to be a bad guy when I call this research. I'm always trying to contribute something.
No,
and I know
you're
I
not.
sometimes come off a little hard and nasty. I don't mean to be nasty.
But thank you for your call, John.
Appreciate it. Have fun.
Thank you. Just want to give a shout out to Miss Denise Crumble, who's always a listener on YouTube and Facebook. Miss Barbara Smith and Eval Kenya. If I pronounce your name wrong, my apologies, but appreciate you for tuning in and listening to the program. Just want to give a breaking news quick update that there is a large police presence near 6th and Reservoir. So if you are heading in that direction, or if you are living in that direction, you may not be able to maneuver down there, and so please use caution, as there is a large police presence near 6th and Reservoir. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. The phone lines are open. We will just move on as we are close to coming to a close. The NBA free agency has began, and obviously I am a Bucks fanatic, even though I am one of the biggest critics. I'm always in tune with the Bucks, and so the Bucks made quite a noise earlier this week with regards to some moves that they made, some players that they picked up, and then also one player that they ended up letting go, which is Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
I know that there is a lot of frustration and a lot of talk about waiving Dame Lillard, but what I will say is this: the Bucks are cap strapped, and they needed to do something, and everything that the Bucks do is on a year by year basis, and so they wouldn't been able to do anything this year keeping Dame on the books,
Right.
while also knowing that he's not going to play next season. And so waiving him, although, a lot of people may think that that is not a smart move or is an unpopular move, I am on the contrary. I think that that's a good move, just on the fact that he is an aging guard. He is 34, 35, within that range, coming off actually going through an Achilles injury rehab for the Achilles that he obtained in the playoffs. And so, you know, removing him from the team allowed them to stretch out his contract, and we were able to pick up some pieces. One of those pieces is Miles Turner. If we all remember, a lot of people were getting on Brook Lopez, but Brook Lopez is close to 40.
Yeah.
Right. And so in those pick and rolls, he was getting slaughtered. Now we got a younger, more athletic
Brook
center.
Lopez.
I do think Brook Lopez is was better in his prime. Today, Miles Turner is
Well,
better.
Miles Turner is a younger, he's a younger athletic version of Brook because he can shoot, he
Yeah,
can block. The
I don't want to say all that just because Brooke Lopez is an all time leading scorer of the
no,
Nets.
no, well,
So I
no, you
can't I
got to,
can't put them in the same breath. All I'm saying is that at this time, you know, it serves us better to have a younger center
yeah.
than him. I'm not gonna compare him
Well,
to Miles
well,
Turner
yeah,
because
well,
Miles Turner never even been an All Star.
well, well, I mean, as far as credentials, we can't compare. But as far as player likeness, we can compare because he's a younger, quicker version of Brook. Now, if Brook was still in his 20s, I'm sure he'll be, you
Right.
know, see what I'm
We would
saying?
have tried
But
to keep him.
yeah, but by you being 38, 39 years old,
Hmm.
um, you at the end, and then when you sign this contract with the Clippers, you sign knowing that you're coming off the bench, so you're not even starting.
Right.
So
And just to I give full credit to the general manager.
yeah,
Uh, is it
Horse.
John Horse,
Yep,
Jim Horse?
John Horse.
Just because he makes things happen,
Yeah, he
at the
does.
trade deadline and in free agency. Now, obviously, it's incumbent on the players to perform, but he is a general manager that every single year at the trade deadline or free agency, he's made something happen. And so, I give him an enormous amount of credit. He has exhausted all resources in order to, expand and sustain the potential of a championship level team.
Yeah, but I mean, now I do agree with you somewhat, but as far as him drafting players, it's been the worst. We drafted DJ Wilson. We
Hmm.
drafted some bums. I mean, Dante is all right, but everybody else that we who well, yeah, Malcolm Brogdon was a good draft. Joe Alexander trash.
But that
Uh,
wasn't John Horst. That was
nah,
Larry Harris Jr.
no,
with
no,
Joe
but they was
Alexander.
all. Well, yeah, that was Larry Harris with
But
Joe, but with
I
DJ
want to
Wilson, it was
yeah
Horse.
I want to say Brogdon wasn't John.
Yeah, no, it
What
was
was
John.
John Hammond? Maybe, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was John
Uh,
Hammond.
it could have been John
Yeah,
Horst.
no, I
I
think it was John Hammond.
I do remember that around the time that Jason Kidd got fired,
Mhm.
was when John Horst initially came into the fold as the general manager.
Well, you do know, I do remember that it was three of them that was making all of the decisions, and then when I forgot his name, was it Lazary that had
That's the
stepped down?
owner. That's the owner.
Well, it was three of them that was making the GM decisions,
Hmm.
and then um it got, and yeah, because I think after John Hammond left,
It was John
it
Horst.
was John Horse. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it was all making decisions and the choices, but Horse, he DJ Wilson. I mean, and everybody who he has picked has been long, like tall and long, you know, people with stretch. But as far as his trade, I do have to give him an A because nobody saw this,
Just a
and they
quick
was in the graveyard.
just a quick update. Six near
I
Sixth
saw that.
and Reservoir. It is a large police presence. The news is actually showing two bullet riddled cars,
Yeah,
and so it's a serious scene down there. If you can avoid that area, please avoid it. Looks like it's potentially an active scene
yeah, exactly.
right now, and so again, please be safe. Um, we do not know more to this situation, but we do know that it is definitely dangerous.
Man.
And so, please, please, please be safe. We are coming to the end of the program, so I will end with this. Today will never come again. Be a blessing because life is, which means you are. Encourage someone because one day you'll need the same. Let your words heal, and soon your wounds will too. Don't be ashamed by shortcomings because through that pain, there is a lesson gained. If there's no honesty, there's no growth. To become a better you, it's essential to have both. That's a note to self, peace and love. Milwaukee, enjoy the 4th of July weekend. Please be safe. Mr. Ride Out,
Yes, sir.
please be safe.
Yes, sir.
To the listening audience, please be safe.